If you're living in Australia and depending on government support as you age, or are living with a long-term disability, then what we're about to share in this video could impact your financial security, your benefits, and your future planning in a big way. As of August 2025, there are new updates to both the Disability Support Pension (DSP) and the Age Pension. And while these two payments might seem similar at first glance, there are some critical differences you absolutely need to understand, especially with the latest rule changes quietly rolled out by Services Australia and Centrelink this month. Many Australians have been left wondering, am I better off staying on the Disability Support Pension, or should I consider transitioning to the Age Pension once I hit the qualifying age? What are the income and asset test differences? Are the medical eligibility checks for DSP getting tougher? Can I lose one payment if I apply for the other? And how does the recent indexation impact the amount I actually receive in my bank account every fortnight? With cost of living pressures continuing to rise, from energy bills and rent to groceries and healthcare, it's more important than ever to understand where you stand and what support you're entitled to. The government has made subtle but significant changes to things like eligibility reviews, reporting requirements, waiting periods, and even how working hours affect your pension. And for many seniors, these small adjustments could mean the difference between getting approved or rejected, or receiving hundreds of dollars less per month without even realizing it. In this video, we're breaking it all down clearly and simply without the confusing jargon. Whether you're currently receiving the DSP, considering the age pension, or helping a loved one navigate the system, we'll explain the latest rules, how to maximize your payments legally, and what to watch out for before making any changes to your claim in August 2025 and beyond. Let's get into it. Now, to properly understand whether the Disability Support Pension or the Age Pension is more suitable for you or your current circumstances, it's crucial to break down how these two payments operate in practice, especially with the changes that have taken effect recently. The age pension has long been seen as the standard form of retirement income support once Australians reach the qualifying age, which, as of 2025, continues to be 67 for most people. But what's less understood is how the Disability Support Pension fits into this broader system, particularly for those dealing with long-term illnesses, chronic conditions, or disabilities that prevent them from working. One of the biggest sources of confusion right now is whether staying on the Disability Support Pension is more financially advantageous than transitioning to the Age Pension once eligible. This question has become even more pressing with the recent August 2025 policy shifts, especially around indexation, threshold limits, and how income from part-time work or assets are treated under each scheme. While both pensions are non-taxable and paid fortnightly, the differences in eligibility, review processes, and how Centrelink evaluates your ongoing situation can be substantial, and frankly, not knowing the fine details can cost you both money and peace of mind. Let's begin with the Disability Support Pension, which is designed specifically for people who have a physical, intellectual, or psychiatric condition that permanently stops them from working more than 15 hours a week. To qualify, you need medical evidence and assessments, and you often go through what's known as a job capacity assessment and a disability medical assessment. It's a more intrusive process, to be honest, and many applicants have expressed frustration over delays, medical report backlogs, or being asked to prove conditions that are clearly long-term. However, once you're approved for DSP, you may receive additional concessions like higher rent assistance rates and access to the pensioner concession card with more substantial benefits compared to the age pension. On the other hand, once you hit that magical qualifying age, 67 for most Australians in 2025, you become eligible for the age pension, and you no longer need to prove a disability or attend those medical assessments. It becomes more about your financial status than your health. The biggest factor here is whether your income and assets fall below certain thresholds, which, as of August 2025, have been slightly increased to account for inflation. That means more seniors might now qualify for at least a part age pension, even if they have a small superannuation balance or own their home. The critical issue here is that some seniors remain on the Disability Support Pension well past age 67 because they don't realize they need to apply for the age pension to transition. Centrelink doesn't always automatically switch you over, especially if you're not proactive. And in some cases, staying on DSP means you could be missing out on full pension entitlements, especially if you qualify for a higher rate under the age pension system. On the flip side, some seniors actually prefer to stay on DSP for as long as they can, particularly if they're receiving top-up benefits like mobility allowance or supplements that aren't available under the age pension. There's also the issue of work. Now, this is where things get really interesting and a bit complicated. Under both DSP and age pension rules, you can technically earn a bit of money from part-time work, but how much you can earn without reducing your payment differs slightly. The work bonus system allows age pensioners to earn up to $300 a fortnight without it affecting their pension. And as of the August 2025 changes, the work bonus bank has increased, allowing seniors to accumulate up to $11,800 of income credit. For many older Australians who want to stay active in the workforce or just need a bit of extra income to cover rising bills, this work bonus is a real game changer. In contrast, those on the disability support pension face stricter income tests, and their ability to work is limited to no more than 15 hours a week, unless they want to risk being assessed as no longer eligible. This has caused some confusion for people who recover partially from a disability and want to test their work capacity without losing their pension entirely. Services Australia has introduced some trial programs to address this, like supported employment and participation options, but it's still a grey area that leaves many people uncertain about what they can and can't do. Now, let's talk about the payments themselves. As of the most recent indexation in July 2025, both the age pension and the DSP pay up to $1,116.30 per fortnight for singles and up to $841.40 each for couples, assuming you qualify for the full amount. This figure includes the basic rate, the pension supplement, and the energy supplement. These rates are adjusted in March and September each year to keep up with inflation and wage growth. However, there's an important catch. If you have assets or income over the threshold, your pension may be reduced. And with the cost of living pressures hitting Australian households hard, particularly when it comes to rent, groceries, electricity, and medical costs, even a small reduction can have a big impact. Another point often overlooked is the treatment of superannuation. For those under age pension age, super isn't counted in the income or asset test for DSP. But once you reach age pension age, your superannuation is fully counted, whether you're drawing it down or not. This means some seniors who are comfortably receiving the full DSP find themselves receiving a reduced age pension after transitioning, simply because their superannuation now counts against them. It's an important reminder to plan ahead and understand how the system treats your savings differently depending on your age. Let's not forget about those who live with a partner or spouse. If one partner is on the DSP and the other on the age pension, things can get even more complex. Centrelink assesses both of your incomes and assets jointly, and if one partner earns too much, it could reduce or even cancel out the other partner's pension. This is particularly frustrating for couples where one partner has a disability and cannot work, while the other is just receiving a modest income from part-time work or a small business. The joint means testing has been heavily criticized for penalizing low-income households, and yet, as of August 2025, there are no new reforms on this front. And of course, there's the topic of supplementary payments. Pensioners may be eligible for rent assistance, pharmaceutical allowance, utilities allowance, and in some cases, telephone allowance. The structure of these add-ons varies between the DSP and age pension, especially if you receive payments as a single person versus a couple. If you're renting privately, for instance, your rent assistance could be as high as $188.20 a fortnight as a single, or $177.20 for each eligible member of a couple. But those numbers can fluctuate depending on your exact rent, your location, and whether you receive other payments like the Commonwealth Seniors Health Card or concessions through your state or territory. One growing concern we've heard from the community is how complex it's become to manage reporting and compliance. For DSP recipients, there's still a strong expectation to report any changes in medical condition, work hours, and income, even if you've been on the payment for many years. The fear of overpayment or being cut off is very real, and unfortunately, not without reason. Centrelink has ramped up its compliance reviews in 2025, including more automated data matching. So even small discrepancies in reported income can result in debts or temporary suspensions. Meanwhile, age pensioners also have to report changes to income and assets, but they generally face fewer medical reviews, which is a relief for many. Another layer of complexity has emerged with how Services Australia handles appeals and reviews. If your DSP is suspended or rejected, getting it reinstated can be a slow and stressful process, with long wait times and medical reassessments. Some people are being encouraged to reapply for the age pension instead of challenging a DSP decision, which may be more straightforward but isn't always in the person's best interest. And with more cuts to Centrelink staff and increasing reliance on self-service and online portals, older Australians are left feeling lost in a digital maze, unable to speak to a real human who understands their case. Yet despite all the bureaucratic frustration, there is help available. Many community legal centres, disability advocacy groups, and even some local MPs are stepping up to assist seniors and people with disabilities in navigating the system. If you or a loved one is unsure about which pension you qualify for, or feel your current payment doesn't reflect your needs, it's worth reaching out to a social worker through Centrelink or an external advisor who specializes in pension law. Understanding your rights and asking the right questions can make all the difference. Ultimately, whether you're receiving the disability support pension, the age pension, or you're right at the cusp of transitioning from one to the other, the most important thing is being informed. August 2025 brings with it a new set of changes, some small, some subtle, but all significant enough to affect your wallet, your choices, and your quality of life. Pension policy in Australia isn't static. It shifts with every budget cycle, every legislative tweak, and every shift in economic conditions. So if there's one message we want to leave you with today, it's this: stay proactive. Review your payments, reassess your eligibility, ask questions, even if they feel basic. Because your pension isn't just a number in your bank account, it's your independence, your stability, and your ability to enjoy your retirement years with dignity and confidence. We'll continue to monitor every update from Centrelink, Services Australia, and the Department of Social Services, so make sure you're subscribed if you want to stay on top of every change as it happens. There's more to come because your pension journey doesn't stop here, and neither does our commitment to keeping you informed.